He was 87 years old and still walked to the grocery store every morning without a cane. No wheelchair, no heart medication, and no signs of slowing down. The locals in his small town in Vermont simply called him Mr. Peterson, but to the younger folks at the community center, he was a walking mystery. How could a man nearly 90 years old still carry 2 bags of groceries uphill? What was his secret? Some thought it was the mountain air. Others said it must be genetics. But those who truly knew him, they pointed to one thing: he always slept on his left side. Always. It sounded silly, like some old wives' tale. But Mr. Peterson swore by it. He said he hadn't changed his sleeping position since he was 30 years old. He even claimed that every time he tried to sleep on his right side or his back, he'd feel his heartbeat change. Curious? You should be. Because recent science is starting to back up what Mr. Peterson instinctively knew for decades. And today, we're going to explore not just his story, but why left-side sleeping might actually be one of the simplest, most overlooked ways to protect your heart, your digestion, and even your brain. Let's start with what we know about the body. When you lie on your left side, something remarkable happens. Gravity works with your organs, not against them. Your stomach and pancreas rest more naturally. Your heart has more room to pump without being compressed by your lungs. And perhaps most surprisingly, your lymphatic system, the one responsible for removing toxins, drains more efficiently. And Mr. Peterson? He didn't know any of that. He wasn't a doctor. He didn't have a degree. He just knew that when he woke up after sleeping on his left side, he felt calm, strong, and refreshed. But his habit didn't start as a health trend. It began after a heart scare in his 30s. Back then, he worked as a carpenter. Long days, heavy lifting, poor meals. One day, he collapsed on the job. The doctor called it a minor cardiac episode, but the fear it instilled was major. And it was that night, lying in a hospital bed, that he noticed something. His heart felt more at ease when he turned to the left. So he stuck with it. Not just that week. Not just that year. But for the next 57 years. Every single night. Friends would laugh. "Peterson, you're like a piece of toast, always flipped to the same side." He'd chuckle, but he never wavered. And while his peers began to take pills for high blood pressure and cholesterol, he just kept sleeping on his left. Even his doctor, at one point, said, "I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it." Of course, sleeping position alone isn't the only factor in longevity. But in Mr. Peterson's case, it may have been the anchor, the one small habit that aligned with his body's natural mechanics. In the next chapter, we'll explore what modern science has uncovered about sleep posture, and why Mr. Peterson's nightly routine may have kept his heart beating strong for nearly 9 decades. Stay with us, because the research just might change the way you sleep tonight. By the time Mr. Peterson was 70, most of his friends had been through bypass surgeries, pacemakers, or were taking handfuls of pills every day. But he remained steady, strong legs, sharp mind, and a heartbeat so calm that even his physician called it textbook. One day, during a checkup, the nurse asked, "Do you meditate or something? Your resting heart rate is like that of a teenager." He smiled and gave his usual answer, "Nope. I just sleep on my left side." She laughed, thinking it was a joke. But behind that laugh was a story science is only beginning to understand. In the last decade, more studies have looked into how sleeping posture affects the body, and the findings are eye-opening. When you sleep on your left side, here's what happens. 1. Better heart function. Because the heart is slightly tilted to the left in your chest, lying on that side may reduce pressure on the heart and improve blood flow. 1. Some cardiac studies even show that heart failure patients tend to avoid sleeping on their left, not because it causes harm, but because they already feel discomfort due to compromised circulation. 1. For healthy people, the left side position may actually support optimal cardiac output. 2. Improved digestion. Your stomach lies mostly on the left side of your body. 2. Gravity helps food move more easily into the small intestine. 2. Sleeping on this side can reduce acid reflux, especially in people with GERD. 3. Lymphatic drainage. The body's lymphatic system drains more efficiently when you're on your left, promoting detoxification and possibly reducing inflammation over time. Now let's rewind, back to the night of Mr. Peterson's cardiac scare. He had no idea about any of this. But when instinct told him, left side feels better, he didn't argue. He trusted his body. He listened. That's something we often forget in modern medicine. We look for data, studies, charts. But sometimes, our bodies already know. And his body? It was whispering, "Stay here. It's safer." Over the years, Mr. Peterson built more than just a habit. He built a ritual. A bedtime routine that started with a light dinner, a walk around his backyard, and a few pages of his favorite book. Then, like clockwork, he would lie down, left side, knees slightly curled, hand tucked under the pillow. And he slept. Like a child. For nearly 60 years. Studies have shown that consistent bedtime routines improve sleep quality and reduce stress hormones like cortisol. People who go to bed at the same time, with familiar cues, like dim lights, quiet space, and predictable body position, tend to fall asleep faster and wake up less. In essence, Mr. Peterson was giving his body a nightly signal: it's time to heal. Time to reset. And that healing happened, quietly and powerfully, as he rested on his left side. He wasn't obsessed with supplements. He didn't follow fancy biohacks. But he had discipline, and that made all the difference. And when asked if he regretted anything, he simply said, "If I had to do it all over again, I'd do the exact same thing, except maybe invest in a better mattress." But let's pause here, because what does this mean for you? Are you waking up groggy? Do you toss and turn? Do you feel your heart pounding at night? Maybe, just maybe, the solution isn't another pill. Maybe it's something as simple as flipping to your left side tonight. In the next part, we'll look at the surprising ways right side and back sleeping could be hurting your long-term health, especially for people over 40. And we'll show you how to gradually retrain your body, just like Mr. Peterson did, for better sleep and better health. Not everyone starts out as a left-side sleeper. In fact, many people don't even think about how they sleep, they just crash into bed after a long day. But here's the catch: how you sleep may be quietly shaping your health. Let's start with back sleeping. For some people, it's perfectly fine. But for others, especially those with sleep apnea, obesity, or snoring issues, it can collapse the airway. When your tongue and soft palate relax backward, they can block the throat, disrupting oxygen flow. You might not even realize it's happening, but your brain does. It panics. It wakes you up again and again, disrupting deep sleep cycles. Over time, this can lead to chronic fatigue, high blood pressure, and even memory problems. Now what about right side sleeping? Well, here's where things get tricky. Right side sleeping puts more pressure on internal organs, particularly the liver and stomach. It may also increase the likelihood of acid reflux, especially after a late meal. And while some people find it more comfortable, studies show that heartburn is more common when lying on the right. He didn't know the science. He didn't have an Oura ring or a sleep tracker. But by sleeping on his left, he naturally avoided 1. Gastrointestinal stress. 2. Interrupted sleep cycles. 3. Pressure on the heart and lungs. 4. Reduced circulation to the brain. He just followed what felt right. And what felt right turned out to be right, decades before the science caught up. But can you do the same? Even if you're a lifelong back or right side sleeper? The answer is yes, and Mr. Peterson had some tips. He once told his neighbor, "I trained myself like a dog. I made the left side more comfortable than the right. And it worked." Here's what he did, and what you can do tonight. 1. Use a body pillow. Place it behind your back so rolling over isn't easy. 2. Keep the left side warmer. Subconsciously, your body prefers the cozier side. 3. Elevate your head slightly. This improves drainage and reduces reflux. 4. Repetition builds muscle memory. It takes about 21 days to form a habit, but you'll notice a difference even sooner. 5. Be patient. The first few nights might be uncomfortable. 5. But just like brushing your teeth, once it's a habit, you won't think twice. Mr. Peterson often joked, "You can train your body like a pet, feed it the right habits and it'll behave just fine." And he was right. Within a few weeks, his left side sleeping felt as natural as breathing. So let me ask you, what if your heart could beat better, your digestion could work smoother, and your sleep could deepen, just by flipping to your left? Would you do it? Would you try it tonight? In the next part, we'll dive into what happens when this single habit becomes a long-term lifestyle, and how your body can transform from the inside out. From your heart to your gut, from your hormones to your mental clarity, left side sleeping may just be the change your body's been begging for. Over time, a simple habit becomes part of who you are. And for Mr. Peterson, sleeping on his left side wasn't just a choice. It was an identity. A quiet act of self-care repeated over 20,000 nights. But what happens when a small decision is repeated that many times? Let's look at the science of compounding health benefits. When researchers study sleep position and longevity, a common thread begins to appear. Those who consistently sleep in positions that support heart function, digestion, and drainage tend to show better markers of metabolic and cognitive health later in life. Here are just a few of the benefits that Mr. Peterson likely enjoyed from his lifelong habit. 1. Improved lymphatic function. The brain has its own drainage system, called the glymphatic system, which clears out waste and toxins during deep sleep. 1. Studies suggest this system functions best during side sleeping, and possibly more efficiently on the left. 1. This could be a key reason why Mr. Peterson maintained such mental clarity into his 80s. 2. Reduced snoring and sleep apnea risk. Gravity helps keep the airways open during side sleeping. 2. For those with mild sleep apnea, this position can dramatically reduce episodes, improving oxygen flow to the brain and heart. 3. Lower acid reflux and better gut health. Lying on the left keeps the junction between the stomach and esophagus higher than stomach acid. 3. This means less nighttime reflux and better long-term digestive function. 4. Support for the lymphatic and immune system. Some lymphatic drainage pathways are more active on the left side of the body. 4. Efficient drainage means better detox, less swelling, and reduced inflammation, all key to aging well. Mr. Peterson didn't know any of this. He just knew he felt better when he honored his body's signals. But the results were clear. His digestion stayed smooth. His mind remained sharp. He never developed chronic pain, despite decades of physical labor. And his doctor often joked, "If every patient were like you, I'd be out of a job." We often chase big, flashy changes, expensive supplements, complex routines, apps that promise better sleep. But what if one small, consistent shift could outperform them all? Mr. Peterson's story is a powerful reminder that health doesn't always come from high-tech solutions. Sometimes, it comes from quiet discipline. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't chasing wellness trends. He was simply a man who listened to his heart, literally. And in doing so, he avoided so many of the issues that plague older adults. 1. Irregular heartbeat. 2. Chronic insomnia. 3. Acid reflux. 4. Cognitive decline, all because he chose a side and stayed there. And here's the thing. You don't have to change everything tonight. You don't need a perfect bedtime routine or a new mattress. Just try one thing. Turn to your left. Tonight. Tomorrow. And again the next day. Over time, that small turn might just become your secret weapon, just like it was for him. In the final part, we'll explore how you can build a complete sleep system around left side sleeping, with pillows, breathing techniques, and evening habits that align with your body's deepest healing rhythms. Stick around, because it's time to sleep smarter, not harder. If you've made it this far, you're probably wondering, can something as simple as left side sleeping really make that big a difference? Mr. Peterson would say yes, not because he read about it, but because he lived it. But here's the part we haven't shared yet. On his 87th birthday, his granddaughter asked him the question everyone wanted to know. "Grandpa, what's your secret?" He paused, smiled, and replied, "Sleep the way your heart wants to rest. And never stop listening." Then he laughed, patted his chest, and added, "And mine. It always leaned to the left." That night, surrounded by 3 generations of family, he gave a short speech. No microphone. No script. Just wisdom. "I didn't do anything special," he said. "I just did the small things, every day. And those small things, they did something big for me." He didn't run marathons. He didn't follow trends. He slept. On his left. For almost 60 years. And that one small habit helped him live a life free from heartache, literally. You don't need to become Mr. Peterson overnight. But you can start building your own version of his ritual. Here's how. 1. Use a supportive side sleeping pillow, one that fills the space between your neck and shoulders to prevent tension. 2. Tuck a pillow between your knees. This keeps your spine aligned and makes side sleeping more comfortable. 3. Keep your room cool and dark. Your body naturally enters deeper sleep in a cooler environment. 4. Wind down like Mr. Peterson. Light dinner. 4. Gentle movement. 4. A good book. 4. Avoid screens in the last hour before bed. 5. Create consistency. The same bedtime, the same position, the same peaceful mindset. So tonight, before you lay your head down, think of Mr. Peterson. Not as a health guru. Not as a myth. But as a man who trusted a simple habit. And lived a long, full, heart-strong life because of it. You don't have to change everything. Just one thing. And if this story inspired you, don't forget to hit that like button. It tells YouTube this content matters. And subscribe to Human Health Hub for more stories and science that help you live longer, stronger, and better. Your health is in your hands. Sometimes, all it takes is turning the right way. Good night. Sleep well. And stay left.